back from Atow as he takes control. Are you kidding me? Is it really happening?
No. Atow, big cutout here. We're watch last back. Rise moving up field.
He's moved to get on the backboard. Is there any help? He's found the 50.
Atow high, wants to go solo himself, gets the 50 cent first, gonna set first.
This is Atow, and he would become one of the best Belgian Rocket League players we have seen. And just like many of your other favorite pros, he would start competing in 2020 under the banner of With My Boys, playing under the wing of Fakeow, his older brother. He would play with a multitude of teammates, and he would keep grinding until he's old enough to compete in the RLCS. However, in November 2021, Atow's older brother Fakeow would announce his retirement, where he would sit back and support Atow, knowing that he would be one of the greatest mechanical players. And in February of 2022, Atow would get his shot. Team Liquid would pick up Atow as well as Oski, almost right when they turned 15. These two prodigies would replace Roniki and Flakes, and their third would be a Chronic. Unfortunately, in their debut in the closed qualifiers, Liquid would finish dead last. But it didn't really matter for them because this was the last event of the winter split. So they would brush it off and prepare for the spring split, where, well, they would show the scene how good these two prodigies really are. And in the first event, they would get top 8, which wasn't amazing, but they were still in the race for the major. And in the next event, Liquid would get a top 2, beating Moist and Karmine Corp in the process. This was an amazing event for the Young Guns. And rounding out the split, they would get 4th, which would qualify them for the spring major as the 3 seed out of Europe. This is where Atow would perform in his LAN debut. In the first matchup, Liquid would face Mita's team, Falcons. But for this team's LAN series debut, they would lose 3-1 after taking the first game. Then sweeping Power to face the Winter Major champions, G2 Esports. And they would fall down 2-0 in this best of 5 series to the defending major champs. After taking the first and the second, oh my god, they've done it. After this reverse sweep, Liquid would face Moist Esports, another group of young guns who were developing an EU, where they are 1-1 against each other throughout the spring split. This series was electric, and you might need to pay attention to these two names for the future.
Space is Rise one on the goal line, he can't quite catch up, and Moist didn't come out right, but Joyo to Rise out of the corner.
Right hand side,
Oh, the goal! A team you want to be facing right now, but Team Liquid looking to bear down and finds the floor, pops it in, and Team Liquid tie this.
4 seconds, the crowd will serenade us potentially.
There it is!
Better to score the 0-second goal of the man who missed earlier. Redemption! For Chronic, dropping it below the crossbar. He knew he messed up earlier, but that man is not letting it go away from him twice. The man with the Portuguese flag behind him, representing his nation, could have just got to go for a tie. Team Liquid, they cannot be beaten again.
A honesty check, but Joyo, nice follow-up, keeps the ball alive, and just like that, Rise scores off the rip.
Fake there from Atow to leave it to Oski, who's moved. This is going to ask the question of Joyo. The question is not answered very well at all. Atow puts it apart, and Chronic sinks it home. Must shoot themselves, Joyo.
There it is.
It's there by Atow. It falls to Rise. The crowd go wild. It's 1-1. The crowd. We have a
the
drawn
speed.
game. A minute. Only a few seconds left. Team Liquid need to get this ball. They're not going to be able to. Moist Esports on the cusp. First they were cheesy, now they're moist. But one thing these boys will never be is overawed by the big occasion.
Unfortunately, in this battle of the drippiest, Liquid would fall short. However, they actually had the worst bracket luck this event. First round, they faced the grand finalists of the major as an EU 3 seed, and then proceeded to fall down to the defending major champions, and then Moist Esports, who actually won the entire thing. So despite this top 8 finish, this really doesn't show the full picture of how good these guys really were. This ended Atow's 21-22 season, where they would prepare for the 22-23 season, and fortunately, roster mania did not get to them, so this roster would be the same entering the fall split. And for the first two regionals, this seemed to not be a great idea, with a top 8 and then a top 11. Liquid needed an insane run just to have a shot at making the major, and it wouldn't start great with losses from G1 and Oxygen before sweeping BDS to barely make the playoffs. And their first matchup would start with Vitality.
Clear.
Team Liquid absolutely locked in their own half, but they have been holding on well, and an accidental
Fury's out. Now shot for Oski. Challenged by Alpha.
Where's the defender? Where's the defender?
Will. For EG. And Atow.
Many times.
Lovely touch there from Oski towards a Chronic. This could be the game win. And it is Liquid. Exotic has to avoid Oski there. He did just about enough. Here he now past him. Also gets it into the top right corner. Team Liquid, for the first time in the Org's history, take a regional victory. And these three players will be EU's second seeds at the Rotterdam Major. Champions in Europe.
A first regional win would finish Atow's fall split and would qualify him for the fall major, and this major wouldn't be too remarkable. Liquid would barely qualify through Swiss with 2 Game 5 losses to V1 and FaZe. Liquid faced Genji in the quarterfinals, and after going up 3-1 heading into Game 5, Liquid would lose the next 3 consecutive games to lose out to the winners of the fall major. This loss hurt because after Game 5 they looked like a whole different team playing. Due with the split would be more of the same, a top 8 finish and a top 2 finish. These two first regionals set Liquid up in a solid spot. And in the last regional, they would go 3-0 in the group with 2 Game 5s, as well as 3 Game 7s to take home a regional win heading into the major. Luckily, Liquid got seeded into an easy group, finally getting some decent luck with major seeding, and went 3-0 in the group. After a good win against Vitality, Liquid had a chance to be in a grand final on a land stage, but their kryptonite was standing right in front of them.
Touching in the sky. It's tough for Liquid to challenge here. Vatira, double tap, flip reset. Can he put it away? Oh, he's too good! That is insane, James! Vatira has gone mad!
Vatira and Karmine Corp. Liquid is so close to being the face for you, but keep falling short to these top level teams. And unfortunately, the spring major also wouldn't be too interesting. They qualified for the spring major as a 4 seed, but had an unremarkable event going 2-2 and finishing top 8. But this wouldn't leave Liquid in the dirt for too long, because the World Championship was going to be hosted in just 1 month. Because they did so well on land, they were seeded into groups already, where they would start this incredible run starting against Complexity.
Going to maintain possession. Decent position as well. A little bit of space to work with into the middle and into the net. AJG will convert. What happened for CRR there? The infield passes off and Atow goes up. Such a tough the attack. A floater up in front of the net. This is dangerous. Oski down into the net and he will cut it down to stop. And a chronic recently. See if Oski has something to say here in OT. What a dish. 1-2-1 combo from the boys on Liquid to get it done and force another Game 7. Oh, you can't write it. Full of North America, but will it last as AJG pushes that one out? 10 seconds to go here, and Team Liquid gonna try pull off a miracle. Flip reset, 1, 2, 3! Oski puts them on by 1! They found the bull, and then they said, you're by yourself, buddy. No one's gonna save you this time. Back in your own half, even if you get through all that. The shield in the back to keep everything safe.
But Liquid put in quite some time, and when better when it clears a path to top 8 of
On completely level, potentially the first overtime in this game with 1 bump, 1 demo. Atow, yes, a reset. He goes for the kill. Atow is him. Ruby's in his own half, according to the full court carry by Team Liquid. The semi-finals for one of Europe's best.
Liquid lost to the inevitable. However, this run was absolutely incredible. The mechanical ability of all three players, especially Atow and Oski, were seen throughout the entire event, as well as the confidence of the team. I couldn't count how many times I saw Oski or Atow stand up from the chair. And I would love to talk about Gamers 8, the biggest LAN held in Saudi, but unfortunately Liquid had their reverse sweep stopped twice from the same team in the group, and that team was the winners of the tournament. That's crazy unfortunate luck. This loss after a crazy event at Worlds ended the 22-23 season, and Atow would not be able to avoid roster mania this time, with a certain org looking to form a super team. Karmine Corp Rocket League, already a staple in the scene. This 2024 roster to join Vatira, a two-time LAN champion, was Atow and Rise, a LAN champion and four-time runner-up on LAN. This team on paper was the best team in the world, and among pro players and spectators, this team was the scariest team for the 2024 season. Of course, they would have to prove it in the first regional of the major. And they would, winning the first regional, reverse sweeping BES in the semifinals. This was not a fluke, and they would do this for the second and third regional of the split, completing the second ever triple crown in NA or EU history. Not only that, they did this without losing a single series in the main event. They had one loss in the qualifiers to a team that really doesn't matter in this story. So entering the major, obviously this team was seen as the favorites, but this run for Atow's first major win would not start great this major, going 3-1 with their only loss coming from a strong Falcons team in Game 5 overtime. And when they got seeded into the playoff bracket, of course, they played Falcons to kick off their playoff run. And this series was absolute cinema.
Of course, a main event of epic proportions, and the blue wall! Straight! Gonna dump that off to the side. TRK trying to bring it down to ground. Rise, serve it up on a platter for Vatira.
Oh!
Vatira the fake, and Atow plays hero!
Big time fake from Vatira.
A better chance to
TRK.
get the double lined up and through! Right!
Clock run down. The Karmine Corp now on the
Nobody
offensive
there.
front. Atow! Got it! We are all tied up!
What comes next? What's the next big twist and turn here? Vati to Atow! He's got another!
Quickly past the killers. Atow, big cutout here. We're watch last back. Rise moving upfield.
Oh!
Bench! Oh my God!
Good grief!
Goals on the side of Falcons here. Can they get the equalizer? No. Rise back to the midfield. And Atow will tie us all up. Pick this up. Can he get the follow? Slippery set. Got the 50. It's not enough. Vatira, no, not able to make contact on that one. So still, once again, this one played for Karmine Corp. Rise, slow play, trying to get it over two. Atow from the midfield will be able to stay on top of this one. Gets it right in front of the goal line, but Falcons knock it away.
Heads and hands all over the arena. Rewash denied by Vatira. It was wide. And he'll try and get around killers, but on hands, surprisingly not Vatira in this series. It's Rise and Atow who have done the lion's share of the work offensively. Vati drop down for Rise! Through the air, killers to his left. Can he set him up? No, Atow's in the way. TRK, the pump, swept away, and the blue wall stands tall.
It's our second semi-finals. Will anything top what we just saw out of Vitality and Yeah, you know what? Juicy does.
What a response. I mean, everyone went cake off. Fast.
Defensive they're sitting as well, Rise. All he can do is pop it up. The fake comes through. The shot goes through. 3-1. Well, gentlemates, a little bit of trouble. They're very slow to this reset. Atow drop down. Is Vatira there? No, yes! Yes, no! Surely! Field he wanted. There's the space. It's just Atow. He's just throwing the kitchen sink at it! Oh! Gentlemates just a little bit too eager to follow up. Juicy with space. Reset around one. Fake around two. There we go! Didn't work there.
shot directly on target, cleared away. Juicy wants to go backboard. He's up, it's central, it's on target! It is Juicy!
And we got game 7!
Hunt, Juicy, anyone central. He's on the crossbar, he goes down for the top, he's not together! But a touch he does! Game 7 magic!
Juicy again! Off the backboard, double tap, Rice couldn't get it, but Itachi could! Gentlemates, 3 minutes away from the grand final.
Upset of the century. If Gentlemates can get this one and on the open net! Rice can't get back! It's Juicy again!
Not a kick-off goal, Europe, what are we doing?
Gets the touch, Vatira takes it live with a block on the goal line. Another chance! The deficit is 1!
Seconds, ball has to hit the ground, Juicy's on it. Atow has to challenge, blocked out, ball still up. Rice, what can he do? He can't quite get it. The block, Seiko, bumped, no!
Chance now, Atow up high, 50 boost, but now it falls to Gentlemates. To the ground, this ball has to go. Rise is the one to help it, they're still held high. Side wall, Atow, any chance for a ball to hit the ground?
I'm losing my voice, I'm losing my breath. Rice has space, does pump it, ball out! Gentlemates make the grand final!
They do the unthinkable! They topple the Titans! Karmine Corp are out! Long reign, Gentlemates!
Atow would not get his lane win he wanted after an incredible showing from the EU number 4 seed to win the major. So unfortunately, they had to move on and start the grind for the second major in London. However, in this first regional, Karmine Corp would get upset in the first round of the playoffs, placing top 8 in the first regional back home. And at the second regional, Karmine Corp would pull something off that shocked the entire Rocket League scene. In the qualifiers, Mike Boy and Sub would beat Karmine Corp again to send them to the lower bracket to play top Cougars, a team who has struggled all season, and Karmine Corp would lose, ending the second regional short, acquiring no points to qualify for the major. And of course, Karmine Corp were under fire, and the already iffy RLCS format were under fire too. Karmine Corp played their last regional of the season getting 4th, but there was too big of a gap to qualify for the major. This also meant that KC wouldn't attend the Esports World Cup LAN with a $600,000 prize pool, because only the top 3 teams from EU were invited to compete. It's insane how one lackluster performance 1 week would make KC go from the second team ever to triple crown in NA or EU history to a team who failed to make the major, failed to qualify for the Esports World Cup, and might not be able to play in the World Championship because there was another team in the running for that last spot. So Atow and Karmine Corp had to be cheerleaders for the London Major. Hate watching Oxygen so they wouldn't steal the last World Championship spot. Fortunately, Oxygen did not play up to what they needed to, so Karmine Corp would take the last World spot. And because of the giant gaps between events, this was the very first RLCS event KC would play in 4 months. So of course there were a lot of questions for this World Championship. How would they perform after not competing for so long? And with this team being so talented, would it even matter? And this World Championship would be interesting for Karmine Corp. KC went 3-1 in Swiss, taking a loss from Furia. But in the tiebreaker to decide who makes top 6 and the upper bracket, KC faced Furia again, with this time being in favor of Karmine Corp. This put KC in the upper bracket to face Falcons. And this is what Karmine Corp showed us in the World Championship.
Going to be warming up as time goes on, and this one, bump play comes through. Atow makes it look.
Seeming it, Rise gets a touch of bump killers. It's going to fall to Atow. He goes to the backboard. Can he get this read? Almost. Here's Vatira. Karmine Corp equalize. Karmine Corp, they don't just get the ball away. They do something with it after one. TLK has so much time to play. And Atow saves as far as killers. This was going to bounce into the center. Atow beats him to it. Is there a player in the center that need to be? It's Atow again. The Belgian can't be stopped.
He is the one. When it comes to overtime, there is no stopping Atow. He'll go in, killer, tries to make a spinner, and he's demoed up the map, and the ball comes through. Vatira with the squishy, and it's sent back 2 seconds on the play. as Atow resets to the backboard. Follow-up is in. We are back to waiting and down, but the Falcons take this one away. Rise. Nothing. He's in. He is in. Karmine Corp defeat the Falcons.
The corner, Atow there though is waiting. That one on target. A couple of balls and a miss.
No one expected this level of beast mode again!
Ladies and gentlemen, you...
So fast and methodical that you just don't have a Okay. G2, say, champions were made in the West! The blue wall falls, and G2 take the stride!
Karmine Corp ended up falling short to G2, almost pulling off the reverse sweep after shutting them down to 0 goals for 3 games. However, a top 4 was a solid placer for the squad after not playing in RLCS for months. This is about the time when Atow would start being underrated and overshadowed by his teammates. And I fell victim following this. I believe I have consistently underranked Atow in the past, and I sincerely apologize. This team would disband after the season as well, kicking Rise and bringing the hottest player in Rocket League on the team, Drawley, the world champion in just his rookie year. And once again, this team on paper is the best in the world, dominating all off-season tournaments and all 3 players sitting on top of the 2's leaderboard. And for the first regional, of course, they won the entire thing dominantly, going 12-2 in their playoff bracket. Regional 2 would be just as dominant, winning every game on Championship Sunday, sweeping the semifinals and the finals. Karmine Corp was separating a huge gap between them and everybody else in Europe. In the final regional of the split, Karmine Corp once again dominated everyone leading up to the finals, sweeping Redemption and stomping Vitality 4-1. All that stood in their way was GK in the grand finals, a Cinderella team looking to qualify for the major. And of course, the score ended up as a sweep, cementing K-Corp's second triple crown. Wait, what? Sorry, I got it wrong. Karmine Corp got swept dominantly by GK to end the Birmingham Online split. Wow. If you want to know more about this GK run, click up here because their story is truly inspiring. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. Karmine Corp having their only loss be a sweep, GK stealing the final regional, and KC being the favorites of the major. Here is Karmine Corp's run of the most recent RLCS major, starting with Wildcard.
Second touch, Fever with the third. This last minute to potentially go to match point, but K-Corp want the lead back. Yeah, Wildcard really needs to stop the bleeding or this is gonna turn into a hemorrhage, and you got Drawley with the ceiling reset.
Touch off the wall, and that thing's just so skinny. It went right over Torsos's head. That one breaks through. Last chance. Torsos with 0. Dipped the banana head right side. They're gonna find an equal.
Head now with a full tank, time on the ball, couldn't get under it.
Double-edged defending here. Wildcard trying to keep tabs. There's the ball. Fortunately, the success of beating that #1 Europe seed just still manages to elude them. Karmine Corp close.
And has to race all the way back into his own half, takes that boost enough to slow things down here. Will the challenge come in? Controlled Muskie over one shuttle. And it's in. He's trying with all his might to get this out, but it is low resources, but that's not gonna stop Drawley.
Field. Pop back into the air dribble. Lost a bit of the ball. Couldn't get the dunk. K-Corp just miss it. Another chance. 1, 2! Drawley misses the bump on Oli, who has no boost left. And just desperately looking for a way out. Batira steals his boost off the ceiling. Another demo. Batira scores! He's got a headhunter downfield for him. Indirect off the ceiling. Now the backboard. There's Batira. Got a bump on the backboard. It's open again unless Killers can get to it, and Atow's just Walterman on the Vitality side. K-Corp into the playoffs. Europe turns down. Now that demo will cut things off in midfield.
Has to track back, but he's used all his boosts to get on the backboard. Is there any help? He's found the 50-minute goal! Huge game for KC to win. NRG get triple match point off this reset fade. Shot on! Huge saves from NRG time and time again. Drawley handing it off to Batira. He's been bumped. Cannot find the goal.
Now that Atow's got plenty to work with, he goes right by Daniel. Bang, bang!
no answer here. That pop will secure it. KC, on a day of extreme excitement, Arsenal wouldn't really have that much boost, but doesn't seem to care as Vatira goal and scores. Good enough for now, but when you gotta do anything.
Statement from the tournament favorite.
That was a
Mick settle just for a little bit of territory. LJ isn't able to get the ball. Atow high, wants to go solo himself, gets a 50%. First killer's there, first killer's his way through, still might get the pitch towards his teammates. Atow's on the bus. You never know.
Limiting their chances, so that's going to be completely open at the back. Drawley on target. And
Ditmo. Vatira can stay forwards. Oh no, two KC players in front of him. There he is. He's in the front. Forcing Karmine Corp into making these errors up in their own pace, dealing with but you can't be stopped.
now sees LJ have to do something. That's central, that's open. My friend Corp will complete their destruction of the Bugden League wall, and they do so in 721 days. And Karmine Corp return as your Birmingham major champion.
This was one of the most dominant LAN performances we have ever seen, sweeping all of Championship Sunday. This team gotta be a cheat code, man. If Vatira is the worst player on the team, it's gonna be extremely difficult to beat these guys. So for the first regional of the rally split, you guessed it, Karmine Corp won again. However, for the second regional, Dignitas would beat Karmine Corp in a close series in 7 in the grand finals, spoiling Casey's chance at a triple crown again. Fortunately, in the final regional of the season, Karmine Corp stomped Dig in the grand finals for revenge. Casey is guaranteed the first seed at Worlds, even if they somehow got last this major, which just shows how insane this team is. And now we hear on the present. In 3 weeks, the second major will take place in Rally. With how good Casey still look, it is possible for Atow and Vatira to get their first World Championship wins, to cement themselves in Champions Field. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck to KC, even though I'm an NA fan. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy this mini documentary on Atow, and I will see you guys in the next video.